And we are back, and we just finished watching 2023's RYE LANE, rated R, with a runtime of 1 hour and 22 minutes. This is currently streaming on Hulu. This was a treat. Thank you, Zach, for nominating this for one of the Wednesday night film discussions. And I actually wanted to watch this with you because I thought that you would also enjoy it. And we are going to pair this movie with Intergalactic, which we saw a little while back. What'd you think?
This was great. This
Wasn't
was such a sweet romantic comedy. Yeah, and I'm not a big romantic
comedy guy, no.
Because most of it is like that Hallmark crap.
You know what? I'm glad you said that because I feel like I have a love-hate relationship with romantic comedies. I feel like I like them, but it has to be really, really special for me to love them. Like I'll watch it, but 8 times out of 10, I'm so pissed off because the writing's weak. It's very formulaic. It's very predictable. There's usually no chemistry between the leads.
It's just saccharine dialogue, and it's just full of cliches. Like, I divorced my husband, and now I'm going back home to my small town. And and there's the hot vet, the sexy vet, or the sexy sous chef, or the
sexy sheriff,
the sexy librarian, or bookstore owner. Who's nursing some injured heart because his wife died, and maybe he's got a kid. Or, you know, you got the precocious little kid. He's like, I'm gonna hook these two up. Jeepers.
Very formulaic, very predictable. This, happily enough, is none of that. I mean, really strong writing, really great turnout by all of the performers, even people that are only in the movie for a short amount of time.
Yeah, great characters.
My goodness.
I loved all of them, even the ones that are like the ones who broke their hearts. They were all so
interesting, and colorful. Gia's got like that whole scene in the beginning with Gia was amazing. The scene towards the end with Jules was amazing as well. And these people don't have a lot of airtime on there. I mean, I even liked like Mona's character, who was a hot bitch, and the mothers I thought were great. Oh my gosh.
Was it like an uncle or something who was just like messing with the guy?
It was so hilarious.
Like, I know where they keep some valuables. Yeah. What are you? What are the numbers?
He's like, and then when he goes up the stairs, he's like, "What did you do?" This movie also is told through
even the guy. I'm sorry, but even the guy when like going through the playlist and he's like they stop on like sign your name and he's just like wait, and then he starts singing and I guess he's singing to that woman in the chair and she's just like
huh?
She's
what?
Just like no, this ain't happening. And he just stops. Oh my god,
it was amazing. This film definitely captures like the Black British experience. I think it has a really good tone set in that culture. I mean, everything about it, from the mentions of the foods to even the language, right? Ting. I love that word, ting. So spot on. Firing on all cylinders. Not a long movie, an hour and 22 minutes. It's
perfect.
It's perfect. It is such well spent investment of your time. If you haven't seen it, absolutely.
Yeah. The way
it's a
shot,
banger. It's a banger.
Yeah. The way it's shot, I mean, when they tell their backstories, it could have just been them talking about it, but then they go into those sort of like imagined scenarios where like the audience is full of Dom.
Yeah, when she's telling her story.
And he's like cheering her on, and it's just great.
Yeah, it's really well done.
And they change like the color palette, make it a little bit more vibrant and imaginative.
Yeah. Well, even like but like this film is so full of life. It's got all the sights and the sounds. The soundtrack is a banger. I'm going to be saying that word for the rest of the day.
I'm going to pretend to have an English accent for the rest of my life.
Sure. But kudos to Raine Allen-Miller, the director, and writers Nathan Bryon and Tom Melia. Just fantastic. I mean, this is not a long film, but you really capture the essence of these people, what they're going through, the world around them, and everything is just fantastic. And there's a small cameo by an A-list actor.
and I like that it was like they meet early and it's just them throughout the day.
Yeah.
And you really feel like it's getting more and more earned. Like the love story is becoming more and more earned, as opposed to just, oh, we saw each other and sparks flew and yada yada.
It was love at
which
first
is what
sight.
you get at the Hallmark crap.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to out myself because, again, like I mentioned earlier, I do have a love-hate relationship with these movies. And yesterday I watched Love in the Villa, which is also a romantic comedy playing on Netflix. Completely saccharine. I mean, I had a toothache by the end of that, but I mean, I don't regret watching it, but it's certainly not on this caliber. And so when you see stuff like this is what makes me mad, because it's like, you can have a really, really good romantic comedy. The proof is right here. RYE Lane, folks. RYE Lane on Hulu. Go check it out. Seriously. If you love stories, if you love just interesting characters, good storytelling, great shots of just London and the surrounding areas. It does a really good job of incorporating, we talk about like how the city is part of the story.
And it gives you a look at London that you don't really see in most movies. Most movies you see and they're in London, it looks sort of like what you'd see in Paddington or something,
exactly.
or Harry Potter or something like that.
Right.
They focus on so few areas.
Yeah.
And this, you got like the whole thing. You saw all the markets. You saw places that
harbor,
places that usually aren't in movies.
Yeah.
And it gave it so much more life and more of a. I felt like I could sort of connect a bit more to it because
it was immersive.
These are not only is it immersive, but these are areas that look similar to places that I grew up.
Sure. When they go into that little bodega, you were like, that feels like Brooklyn.
Yeah, this feels like Brooklyn to me. And you don't really think of that when you're watching movies about London.
Right.
I guess we're just stereotyped to believe that everybody's walking around in bowler hats and
and speaking poshly.
Stiff upper lip.
Yes.
Pip pip.
Harumph.
Fish and chips. Harumph. Yes, quite. That's our view. We're just drowned in stereotypes.
Yes, absolutely. And even though this was told through the vantage point of Black Britons, you do get a sense of the whole cultural layout of the city when they're in the park talking and you see the people doing the Tai Chi and stuff. So it's just not that. I mean, yes, they are the main protagonists and this is part of their... Obviously, the majority of the story is told through their environments and stuff, but still, even with the little bits and pieces that you see of Brixton and other parts of London, you still get a sense of, like you were saying, like the overall area, and that's nice. I love when filmmakers and storytellers incorporate that into their stories, almost to the point where it almost becomes like a tertiary character in the story.
No, this was really good. I just love the way everything about it was shot. I mean, they used like a fisheye lens on many shots that it sort of like brought the two characters together even more. Like I said, there were certain parts of it that were very colorful, very vibrant, and other parts it was a little bit more drab. The director, the cinematographer, they both did excellent work.
Absolutely.
And just honestly, this film rides on those two leads. The actors for Dom and Yaz, they're just amazing. You feel like instant chemistry with them. Dom is sort of like in a sad state. That guy's face, it just conveyed it, but at the drop of a hat, you could see the smile.
Yes.
There's a lot of shots of him sort of like in a bit of a profile where he's sort of like looking at her a bit sideways.
Yeah.
And a little crook of the mouth, and it's just like
it's so well conveyed.
Changed. You could see he likes her, and you could see that she likes him.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess in the beginning it starts out as a bit of a charity case for her, where you find out more as time goes on. As the day proceeds. They just have such amazing chemistry.
Absolutely. And David Jonsson as Dom and Vivian Oparah as Yaz. Excellent casting there. Excellent.
And they avoid, like, they could have fallen into that whole manic pixie dream girl sort of trope.
Yeah.
But no, she wasn't that. She was just, it was like, take that down several notches. You know, she's not just like, I like dandelion. Or like that. It was just two people relating to each other, and she was like cheering him on, dragging him out of this doldrum, and then he wants to return the favor and help her.
Right.
And it's just this crazy adventure where you get to meet all these like
colorful characters.
Yeah. So weird. I loved like the jabs at the artist community. You know, what was how she described Jules? He's like, he's a polymath or something, which basically is just another way of saying he's a cunt.
Oh my God. We both laughed out loud, right? I also, thanks for bringing up the cinematography. There is a lot of close-up shots, and I agree with you.
And to, like I said, their faces convey so much.
Yes.
It's like
Dom's face
perfect.
is
You're using those close-ups are absolutely needed. These people aren't just trying to be stone-faced and cool or lovey-dovey eyes or anything. There's a lot going on.
Absolutely. And you could tell a lot of the story on their faces. Dom's smile is like 100 watts when it happens, right?
And it's nice because he's down.
Yeah.
And when you see the switch, it turns on, and you could, and that's like a thing that's really great about it is this all takes place over a single. Well, not all of it, but
most of it takes over.
Most of it takes place over one day, and you see his demeanor change.
Yes, he's more confident. He's more into her.
Yeah, and he's like willing to do these things
that are out of his comfort zone. Yeah,
but he's in it.
Yeah. And I love that he's so honest and real. Yeah. You don't really get that from male characters in a lot of stuff. Usually the men are brooding or reserved or they're not in their feelings. But this guy is just all about, this is me. He is very unapologetically himself.
And I think he stands out from the other male characters in this movie because you've got like just dumbass like
my God, Eric.
Who's hilarious. Like he doesn't he is like a dog.
He really is.
He's like a happy dog who just doesn't know he doesn't know he shit on the floor, and he's just like, yeah, this is great.
As long as there's food present, he's fine. It's so funny that you said that because it's like, oh my God, that scene where Yaz is like, help me understand why you left this guy for that guy.
Yeah.
That was
so good.
Iconic.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then there's the pretentious Jules. Just Nate, who's just ridiculous too. Who's like, he's been a pretentious artist too, but not like Jules.
Not like Jules.
Jules is pretentious in the sort of like snotty, I'm better than you kind of way, whereas Nate is more pretentious in that it's just like, look at my art, you know.
And he names drops.
We know more about the planet Venus than we do about our own anuses.
And the hairiest door. Amazing. Yeah, this movie is top tier for anyone that loves the romantic comedy genre. This is it for you. I am going to give this a 9.5. Absolutely.
You know what? I'll join you. I really like this. This is probably one of my favorite romantic comedies. I haven't seen many that I've really enjoyed, but this is
top tier.
On the top there.
Yeah, absolutely. Do not let that this is set in another culture dissuade you. Listen, love is universal. People have had across the board have had their hearts broken, have been the breakers of hearts.
It's just
this is just a slice of life human experience, and you would be doing yourself a disservice if you have Hulu. Do not walk, run and go check out RYE LANE. Again, shout out to my boy Zach for recommending this film. I love Zach because he just recommended this because he was like, oh, I saw the trailer, I wanted to see it, so he threw it up for nominations. It won, and we all in the film discussion group had a blast with it. It was just, again, top tier writing, performing, cinematography, set design, everything. The soundtrack. I cannot get enough of the soundtrack. My God, everything just comes together so well. And like we mentioned before, even characters that are in this for very little, they really pop. Yeah, they really pop. And I like you said, I love the close-ups of the faces. Like when they're finally with Mona and they're doing the karaoke. Mm-hmm. Like the close-ups on the faces is just chef's kiss. Loved it. Mm-hmm. Loved it. Yeah. This is amazing. And it's hard to get excited about romantic comedies because like I said, 8 times out of 10, I am sorely disappointed. But this is a feast.
This is great, yeah. I would suggest watching it with closed captioning.
Yes.
Sometimes the accents, the English accent gets a little too thick, and they're speaking with English slang.
Yes. Yeah.
So sometimes I think at the beginning I didn't have it on.
Yeah.
And I was just like, all right, I don't know what the hell what they're talking about.
It was like the Commitments all over again.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, or Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
Yeah. I mean, eventually you ease into it,
Eventually you ease into it, and I really wasn't even paying attention to the credits. But in the beginning, it's a little bit...
It's jarring, right? Because this is not what our ear is used to.
Yeah.
But again, just really, really strong script, really great storytelling, really great performances. Again, kudos to everybody on this production. It came together amazingly well. And again, like I said, I mean, I'm usually disappointed in romantic comedies because I feel like they are generally very formulaic, very predictable, just have the worst leads. God, I saw something recently. What was that? I think it was another. Netflix has a ton of shite. It was like
buying up movie catalogs.
I mean, yeah,
so they got to fill up server space or something.
But I saw one about a writer who goes to Mexico because his book is like,
oh yeah,
that one.
You told me about that one.
Oh, trash. It was awful. I didn't even believe like the chemistry between those. There wasn't any, but whatever. But this did not disappoint. This was so. I mean, I'm willing to watch it again. That's how good it was.
Yeah.
I told the kids, I'm like, I'm gonna watch it with you kids.
It was really, and it's not. There's not anything really that dirty. I mean, there's some talk of sexual
risque,
situations, and maybe like
you don't see anything.
You don't see anything. There's no. There's kissing.
Yeah.
There's kissing, and there's like an implication of something going on, but nothing is shown or seen.
No. Yes, I remember that now. Yeah, it is rated R, but I think it's more for language.
More for language, like the language that we're talking about, people making insinuations and things like that. Oh, and there's a lot of butts in one scene. Butts of different kinds: firm butts, saggy butts, hairy butts. Butts.
Yeah, it was great. It was so good. Yeah, this is rated R for language, some sexual content, and nudity. Oh, I guess
butts. Yeah.
I was like, what nudity? This was a goddamn delight. Go do yourself a favor. If you have Hulu, go check out 2023. So this is new, and I hope that this gets a lot of traffic on the streamer from Hulu. Or it's on Hulu. I don't think that they finance this movie. But RYE LANE for 2023 rated R with a runtime 1 hour and 22 minutes, folks. That is not a huge investment of time for really good storytelling.
Perfect for a romantic comedy.
Absolutely. Yeah, it doesn't need to be more than it. Much like a horror film, it doesn't need to be longer than that. Director Raine Allen-Miller, I think she's got a few things in her credits. This might be her first big production. Can't wait to see more of you. Thank you. Writers Nathan Bryon and Tom Melia, fantastic. Kudos. Keep writing. I want to see more from you guys. And that's it. Any parting thoughts before we wrap it up?
No, not really. Seriously, this was great. Thank you for bringing this to my attention.
Thank you to Zach
and thanks to Zach.
Zach for nominating it. Zach is the MVP. All right, and that's it from us. And we will bid you all a
good night.
Good night.